Hey guys, I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm trying to get everything, looks like everything's working okay. We're going to be running this live. The Bryan Kohberger, let me see if I can find this. I don't think this is going to pop up just yet. I don't know who's running it. If it's, I've got WFLA as well as the judges stuff up. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys are doing well this evening. I just realized, well, I was trying to decide whether I actually wanted to go live or not, but there we go. There we go. Ta-da! I hope everybody's doing great this Thursday. Like I said, I was not planning on doing this live. Hey, Turtle Magnus, Rick's Clicks. It's been a long time. Been a long time. Nice to see everybody. We do have two different feeds right now going on, and I'll get this up so you guys can watch a little something while we sit and wait. There we go. Does that work? There we go. While we sit and wait for the trial. Hey guys, it's nice to see you again. I wasn't planning on coming live with this hearing, but I realized it was later in the day. I'm actually waiting for my mechanic to write back. Hopefully we get the car back today. He was taking it on the interstate, so if everything goes well with the interstate drive, which since I haven't heard from him, it makes me wonder. Old Rusty, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see everybody here. We got Turtle Madness, Rick's Clicks. I can't ever say. Why don't I've had problems with your name for like a year and a half. I don't get it. Summy, it's nice to see you. Danielle, Kenzie's up in the house. Michelle, it's nice to see you. Old Rusty, Kathy, Colette, hey guys, Lisa, Sweet Misery, our beautiful Sweet Misery. It's nice to see you, my love. It's nice to see you. So, again, this is the Idaho 4. Let me switch these things around. I got them in the wrong ears and they're feeling uncomfortable. So, Idaho 4, this is the case where we learned on, I think it was like November 14th. I personally didn't hear this case right away. I'm pretty sure it was in the first 24 or 48 hours after it happened that I learned that 4 University of Idaho students were slain in their home, their off-campus house. Obviously, for obvious reasons, it drug me into the case. I have a sister that's just a little bit older than these kids that were at this house. As a matter of fact, my sister had just graduated a few years before these kids graduated. And so this kind of hit home for me. It probably hit home for several of my of my audience. We have either family members, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, our own children, all in college when we're hearing of this, and we're thinking, who in the world could it be? Naturally, we go to Jilted Lover, the people that are in and around these 4 victims. And, the kids that were around them, in all fairness, to me, seemed like normal kids. They didn't seem like they were, anything weird. I didn't notice anything weird that would scream, in all due respect, homicidal maniac, right? I mean, this was a crazy case. These were 4 beautiful, and not only that, the manner in which they lost their life. It was by, slashings, knife. It was a very personal attack. Hey, Crafty Chris, it's nice to see you. It was a very, very, very personal attack on these 4 beautiful souls. So it seemed very personal. But I got to tell you, one of the things that I felt, and I can't go off, like I say, I really do trust my gut. The only reason why I trust it as much as I do is because it's gotten me out of a lot of jams, in a former life. And so I've just learned to trust my gut, just like I've learned over the years of me traveling. If I'm going around the house and I'm getting everything and something falls literally in front of me, I now pick it up and throw it in my bag because there's been so many times that has happened that I've left it there, picked it up and put it back on the counter, and I get somewhere and I need that very thing that literally jumped out in front of me and said, hey, you need me. So now when things fall in front of me when I'm walking out the door, I pick them up and put them in my bag because I know I will need it. So it's just weird stuff, you know. And when I got there, I knew that these kids could not have been, hey guys, hey, me too. I knew that that these couldn't have been the kids. I remember saying it. I remember looking at Olivia and just saying, Olivia, this is nobody we're looking at. This just, it was too, how did it jump over? Oh, okay. So they're waiting on John C. Judge Shoe. Okay, so I've got it up. When they move over, we'll move over. See, I've got it too. I thought for whatever reason, it popped off in my other screen. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Let me get this back up here. There we go. So when he comes back on, we'll get this started. I don't know really what is going on. This is what I've learned. Hold on. You know what? Let me go grab my pad. I think I forgot to grab my pad. All right. I know you guys can hear me, but I can't hear you because I haven't plugged you guys back in my head yet. So just give me a second. All right. There we go. So what I've learned here is that Lawrence Mauy. Now remember, Lawrence Mauy was the one that was on several of the warrants for the digital stuff. Okay, he's the one that was the affiant to get several of. Oh, Rusty, it's nice to see you. Thank you. Love you too. Love you too. The affiant on a couple of those, or quite a few of those search warrants. And so I hear he's going to be here. This is one of the things I didn't notice about or didn't know about Lawrence Mauy. Apparently, he's gotten recognition from the Secret Service for his digital forensics and some other stuff. So I actually thought that was, you know, fairly interesting because I didn't realize they had such an esteemed person on this case. So it sounds like this guy really knows his stuff and what he's looking at digitally. And I think that shows because did you notice how, remember when we had that, the affidavit of probable cause, and I said, I have never seen an affidavit of probable cause so thorough in my life? And that is absolutely without a doubt true. And still to this day, I have never seen another probable cause affidavit so thoroughly written. Like you could follow it. And I remember my jaw was dropped open. And I'm like, if they can like literally prove even 75% of what's in this affidavit, he's done. Done. Put a fork in him. D-O-N-E exclamation mark, done. So you know, and then when we hear his alibis about stargazing, are you joking? Like, I feel at times his defense team is almost mocking in part at times, you know? I feel that way. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do feel that way. I have a funny feeling they're not going to, like, literally go live until literally, well, he probably can't go live but usually I would think that the John C. Judd would have the feed up and have people in there for them to go live, but I guess they do things a little differently. So we'll figure it out as it goes. We do run some of these hearings here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. However, here lately, we've had other things, like we've been out of town for some of the hearings covering other cases, or other things were going on where we were unable to cover them. I as well as Chronicles of Olivia, were out here. We had an opportunity to interview the Gonsalves literally 24 hours before Bryan Kohberger was arrested. I remember their biggest fear, because the very next day, if you guys recall, the day of their celebration of life that they were having in Coeur d'Alene for Kaylee and Maddie, that morning was when we learned of Bryan Kohberger and Bryan Kohberger's name. You know that? So that evening, we had interviewed the Gonzalez the day before, and we were going out there to cover the cleaning crew coming in. And I remember everything being really weird. You know, they backed everything up. It was icy out there. Like, we were standing literally in front of the home. It was dangerous because there was so much ice that things were kind of slipping and sliding. And we were kind of stationary on the side of the road in the snow. And literally, the way that is, once something's coming at you, it's coming at you. But thank God, you know, nothing like that did happen. There were some slips and slides and stuff like that going on in front of us, but nothing that was dangerous. And so the cleaning trucks, they were going in there to clean the house, had backed up all the way to the door. They had put like these tarps up and kind of taped them to the door, so you really couldn't see them going in and going out. And then all of a sudden they started packing up, and I'm like, what is going on? And then everybody in the chat is like, they made an arrest. And they send me a picture of a guy by the name of Jason Ellis. And Jason Ellis was this punk rocker kid guy. And I'm like, yeah, he looks like the guy. And I don't even remember which Barbara it was, but I remember the name Barbara in the chat saying, well, what does a murderer look like? And then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, somebody's like, oh, Jason Ellis is the wrong... I don't think it was Jason Ellis. Maybe I'm getting Jason Ellis, but it was a Jason name something. And they're like, oh, I think we're getting the wrong name. And so they send me this picture of Bryan. And I remember saying, Barbara, you are right. This does not look like anybody I thought it would look like. And I turned the phone around and showed everybody this man's photo. This was the first time that we had learned of Bryan Kohberger and his face. And so we immediately pack up. We watch all the media and we're like, they're going to the apartments. So we pack up and end up going to the apartments, and they are there executing the search warrant, have the tape up. It was surreal. I remember that day being surreal. It was just extremely busy. And then we had, in addition to that, we still had to get ready and packed up and drive to Coeur d'Alene, because we were invited to the celebration of life for the girls. You know, we got to see Jack D, and we got to give him a hug, you know, because many people were blaming him, and along with Jake, for literally everything, because they dated these two girls and they were brutalized. And I remember saying on here, you know, we need to be careful, just because, you know, because I kept, like, people were bringing up stuff from drama class, you know, where they had masks on and they had a knife in their hand, and it was really getting a little, you know, insane for me. If you really want to know the truth, it was just insane for me. So, long story longer, we learned Bryan Kohberger, and this is when we first saw him coming out right here, because this, if I'm not mistaken, was when he was being extradited back to Idaho. This was July 2nd or 3rd. I remember he arrived January. I remember he arrived back in Idaho on January 4th, I believe, at like 7 p.m. at night. And he was back. And he was excited, or, you know, eager, rather, to get himself exonerated of this crime, and he's had every opportunity to exonerate himself. And now he's giving us an alibi that's a freaking joke. And I feel like that sometimes I just feel like, I don't know, that they're dangling a carrot, you know, or they're mocking the courts. It feels weird. So I wonder what Lawrence Maury is going to be able to bring to this. I wonder what they're going to be questioning him on today. Many people were wondering who the witness was going to be. I think earlier today we were learning that the witness is going to be this Lawrence Maury. And again, I've got, I actually, when this thing starts, I might check the paperwork, because I've got some affidavits, and we'll read. I know that there is one affidavit, because we went over Lawrence's affidavit in conjunction with the, what was the redhead, like the stocky guy? What was his name? I can't remember his name for some reason. The lead detective on this, remember? Somebody's gonna as soon as I hear it, I'll be like, yeah, that. Anyways, Maury's affidavit and his affidavit, when you put them together, we had a lot of questions comparing them, because there was certain little bit of tidbit of information that was different from one affidavit to the other. And the reason that is depending on what they're trying to get, they're not going to give you all the information, nor is it going to be the same from affidavit to affidavit, depending on what they're trying to request. For example, Lawrence Maury may have several different affidavits that have several different information in it, but he's only using the relevant information to acquire that search warrant. So there might be something that's left out of one affidavit that's added into another affidavit, and so forth. So we still don't have anything up right now for John C. Judd. We're all waiting here for them to go live. But typically whenever you get into a courtroom, they typically take a few moments to ask if there's anything that anybody would like to, you know, address before the hearing starts, and this gives them an opportunity to go over any type of objections that they may have that they don't want the public to hear, or if they have an issue that needs to be Brett Payne. Thank you, Brett Payne. So Brett Payne was one of the lead detectives on there, and he's the one that authored the very well written affidavit of probable cause. Sorry. Getting a little slow this afternoon. It looks like over on WFLA, they're just constantly just refreshing the live feed to see if it's, and I've been doing that behind the scenes myself, just refreshing to see when John C. Judd is going to be going live. But again, once they do go live, we will be moving over to John C. Judd. They keep refreshing it. It's going to pop up sooner or later. But I have a funny feeling it should pop up within the first 5 or 10 minutes typically, because usually they can address everything in that amount of time. Judge. That's it. That's it. We're waiting. We're all waiting. We're waiting with bated breath. I hope he remembers to turn it on. But I think he will. So does everybody in my chat, we don't have a whole lot of people because I don't really run hearings, and this really wasn't one that was scheduled to be ran on this channel, so I appreciate everybody being here on such short notice. But how many people actually will Bryan be present? I think he will be. Yes, I think he will be. He seems to have be going to every single one of his hearings. You know, he's not pulling an Adam Montgomery. He seems like he is actively working with his defense team for a good defense and outcome. So, but I do think he will be present, because it seems like he's been at just about every. There's not been a hearing that I really that I haven't seen him at yet, to be honest with you. There's not a 1. So, give me just a second. I'm going to see if there's anything else, because they won't let anybody set up anything in these courtrooms. John C. Judge is the only one that is allowing the courts to be streamed. They said they're going to be streamed on their own YouTube channel, and he doesn't leave them up. They stream them, and once the stream's over, the live is deleted. So whatever is out there that we stream, or the news puts up on the on their news, is all that we get. After that, that's it. That's it. So we're coming up to about the 5-minute mark, so hopefully we'll have an engagement here with the live stream here shortly. But I missed the hearing today. No, the hearing, we're waiting for it right now. It was to start at 2:30, and because it's in Idaho, they're 3 hours behind us. So 2:30 is 5:30 for the people over here on the East Coast. Videos, yeah. Is the trial has not been set yet. There's no trial date as of yet, and this is all I know. I just know that there's no trial date set, and Lawrence Mauy is going to be called to the stand today. And I learned a little more about Lawrence Maury's past and his credentialing and stuff like that, and he seems like he seems like a rock star in his field of study. So, you know, I mean, he's gotten recognition from the Secret Service. That's pretty stinking impressive, if you ask me. So, definitely the right guy for this job here. I can tell you that. I wish I had some stuff to play for you guys about this, but I'm scared we're so close to the crunch time, to the time that I expect them to get this all ready to go. But we're just sitting here waiting. Everybody's just waiting with bated breath to see what's going on. Louisiana, hot, humid day with broken AC. Repair here now. Oof, I can't imagine having a broken AC. Actually today for me was pretty comfortable. If you guys didn't see, I got to, my BFF came by here this morning to check on me, and her and I went out and walked the beach for a little bit, and got some fresh air and some sun, and you know, we went to a restaurant and sat on their patio, and the breeze was just perfect. It was still warm like when you're in the sun, but when you have that nice breeze, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't that bad. Still nothing yet on the live streams, guys, so I don't know. It might just be a little bit, but we have plenty to talk about here. So just to inform you guys on what happened, so on November 17th, 2020, oh good lord, 2022, my word, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. So November 13th, 2022, we learned that 4 University of Idaho students were slain in their off-campus housing. We didn't know what happened. We were just hearing it for the first time. It sent chills and fear through people across this country that something like this happened. And many people wanted to know how it could happen. A lot of people heard about this, even the parents and the students at this school, from social media. Most of everything that the Gonzalez had learned about what was going on was through social media. Even when things were going on, they said they didn't get calls for hours. The only thing that they were waiting on was people that were in that community and updating social media. That's how the parents were being able to get information on what was going on there. This, from what we're learning, appears to have happened in 9 minutes. From the time that Bryan Kohberger walked into the house, allegedly, he has not been convicted yet of the crime, He went upstairs. It appears that he started on the 3rd floor and worked his way down. It is my opinion, for whatever reason, that I don't think Ethan or Xana. Okay, guys, it looks like we might be. Is this up? No, that must be old. How do they have? Oh, here we go. Okay, we got it, guys.
Is Ms. Matha, both representing Mr. Kohberger. I think I've covered everybody. Ms. Evans is court reporter. We're here for a motion and a potential witness, I believe, relating to motions to compel discovery, 4th and 5th. That's all I know. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Taylor.
Your Honor, the court is correct. We are here to begin the motions to compel. We have testimony today from Detective Mauy. As the court will recall, he's unavailable on the 30th and 31st, which are the days when we will have the full scope of our motions to compel. So it may feel a little choppy, but we would like to hear from Detective Mauy today, and we'd call him when it's appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Anything preliminary, Mr. Thompson and Ms. Giddings? Okay, great. Detective Mauy, come on up. You face the clerk, raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
All right, thank you, sir. Go ahead and have a seat there. Once you're seated, please state your name and spell your last.
My name is Lawrence Maury, Mowyery.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Taylor?
Thank you. Will you tell us how you're employed?
I'm employed with the Moscow Police Department.
What is your role there?
I am a detective.
How long have you worked for the police department?
I've worked in Moscow for over 5 years.
Have you been a detective that entire time?
I have.
And prior to that, did you have law enforcement experience?
I do.
How many years total?
We have on 14.
Detective Maury, did you take part in the investigation into the homicides on King Road?
Yes.
And what was your role?
A lot of different things. How to answer that.
Well, I can ask you about a couple of roles, maybe.
Sure.
Do you do any work with cell phones and cell towers?
I have taken training for cell phone analysis.
Was that one of the roles that you played in this investigation?
Yes.
All right. And the other area that I'd like to talk to you about is the collection of videotape evidence or surveillance evidence from around the community. What was your role in that?
So we gathered a lot of data, a lot of USBs, hard drives that came in. At one point, all of that was given to me so that I could copy it over to a server. So we have it stored back up.
Did you inventory it at that time as you got it in, I guess?
Don't have to say inventory. I used the evidence technician to help me book them individually at the time. Right, so the USB had the name of it on it. I would label the folder, what it was, and that came from it.
Did you have any role in verifying the content of the surveillance?
No.
I'm going to have a few questions about that, but I want to talk a little bit more about your role with cell phones and cell towers. So let's start there, okay? What training do you have for that role?
So some time ago, I went through what they say PATC training, which is cellular analysis, and I've also taken classes with CASCOs.
The cellular analysis, is that particular to the device itself, the cell phone device?
No. That
is particular to towers?
To the towers and the providers themselves.
When did you take that training?
Well, the CAST, I believe it was in 2019, and then I also did it again last year.
And the CAS that you took in 2019, that was the ENDICAC, is that right?
That was predominantly again, right?
And the CAS that you took last year was October of 2023, is that correct?
Yes.
And that was the actual cast training.
They were both done by actual cast members. I'm not sure if one was sponsored by the other, but they were both performed by FBI cast members.
And Your Honor, if I as defendants exhibit O, and those are two certificates for training. Is that correct?
Yes,
All right, the one that's from 2019, what did that cover?
that covered the use of the casters software.
And what did the one in 2023 cover?
The second,
Your Honor, I move for admission of defendants O.
The objection?
No objection.
Okay, those are exhibit, oh, no objection. Thank you.
The Detective Maury, how many total hours do those certificates represent of cast training?
I apologize, I didn't look, it was a week long, it was actually a couple of days each time. 2 days a piece of
Do you
please.
need this?
But so the 2019 shows 24 hours, 2023 says 16 hours.
Thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
Detective, you've written some reports in this case, is that correct?
Yes,
I want to talk about two particular reports right now. One is from May the 5th of 2023. Do you recall that report, or should I bring a copy of that to you?
it'd be helpful to add it up.
I can definitely do that. You can show it to Ms. Jennings.
We have a jury next door,
Okay.
just so you know, that's all about.
Detective Maury, does that appear to be your report from May 5th of 2023?
Yes,
And Your Honor would move for admission of defendants P,
That's P,
like Paul?
all right, any objection?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Exhibit P is admitted, no objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Maury, I do not have a police report for the other one that I want to talk about today. It's one that I received via email today that was written just within the last few days by you, probably. Do you know what report I'm talking about?
yes.
Okay. Now, what I want to understand is we're talking about documents or records or logs that can be created by a cast viz program. The report that you wrote that I received today, when did you learn about those documents that exist according to that report?
The research logs that I found were from yesterday.
Why did you come to find them yesterday?
I was preparing for this hearing.
Okay. And those are things that existed for quite some time, is that correct?
They did.
And when you wrote about your work with Cast Biz in May of 2023, did you document those items?
No,
Tell me what you found when you were preparing for the motion to compel today.
I found session logs that were sent to me from the FBI.
All right, and in those session logs, how many files were there?
I don't remember, I think there were 6 or 7 different items inside.
Did you look at the CastBiz 48-hour file?
I don't remember if I did at the time of reception.
Did you look at it yesterday in preparation for this hearing?
I attempted to.
All right. And how about the CastBiz full log?
I attempted to yesterday.
I noticed in your report that there were several items that you listed. Were those from these CastBiz logs that you attempted to look at yesterday?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to, you need to speak up a little bit, or just telling me to pick up a little bit. Thanks.
There were some files that were in the session logs, there were other files that were not.
Well, let's start with the 48-hour. What was contained in there?
There's older 48 hours that was the AT&T records, the original records. And there's a 48-hour session log. I don't know which one you're asking about.
Let's go with the session log. What was in there?
Appeared to be the AT&T records that possibly were inputted, as well as some JSON files that were probably produced by CastBiz.
JSON files were produced by CastBiz. Is that right?
I would assume that. I didn't create those files.
What date were they created?
I believe one was in December. The other was in April.
December of what year?
22,
And April of what year?
23.
Could you tell who created those?
I could not.
How did you get those?
I was provided those via email.
By who?
I made balance of the FBI.
What did you do with those?
Gave them as soon as I realized they were in my possession, I had contacted the prosecutor and gave them.
And that would be just yesterday, is that correct?
Yes,
What did you do with them prior to that time?
they were sent to me. I put them in a folder and I didn't do anything else with them. That's why I forgot them.
Okay, and that was the 48-hour file?
48-hour session log, yes.
How about the full file? What was contained in there?
Similar items to the 48.
What is the full file?
I believe that was the second AT&T return that we got via warrant. I wasn't able to open it to verify it.
That brings up a question for clarification. When you say second warrant return, are you talking about something that relates to Bryan Kohberger?
Yes, there was 2 warrants that were originally written, one that covered a 48-hour period for the cell phone number, and there was one that was later done for a longer period of time.
And those are what you're referring to as the warrants 1 and warrant 2?
Correct. One for 48 and one for the longer period.
In the report that I just received today, there was reference to a loped bar file. What's that?
It is a file that I received from Agent Balance.
When did you receive that?
Honestly, the modification date for the email, I honestly don't remember. Unfortunately, it was yesterday and I didn't put this stuff together, so.
Okay. So that was one that you just found yesterday?
Yes,
Okay. Did you open that?
I don't recall opening it. If I did, I don't recall doing it.
How about the CDR.S.XLSX file? Was that, and CDR, what does that stand for?
All detail records,
Did you open that?
I don't remember if I did not.
Did you open it yesterday?
I don't remember. I was looking for, once I found them, I was trying to figure out how they came into my presence or in my possession. That's what I started to focus.
Okay. How about the export.kmz file? When did you find that file?
I had found that one yesterday,
Do you know when that came into your possession?
some time ago.
Did you open that?
I believe I did on my laptop.
What did that show you?
It showed me different locations and so forth on a map.
Those 3 files that we just talked about, along with the CastBiz 48 and the CastBiz full, are those copied so that I can have those now?
Yes,
And you referred to emails. How many emails did you find when you were preparing for this hearing?
believe there was 5.
Are those included for me to have now as well?
Yes.
Thank you. In the report that I received today, there was a reference to drawings.json file. What's that?
It was a JSON file that was inside the casted session.
What does that depict?
It's just data that casted would use, I'm guessing, to replot something on the map to actually show locations or other things.
Did you do anything with that file when you found it yesterday?
I did open that file, yes.
Okay. What did that show you when you opened it?
There were references to 2 locations inside.
When you open it, what does it just say, here's 2 references, or what does it show you when you open it?
It's different code, but there is some plain language or plain English, plain text inside of that code that show 2 addresses.
Did you use that file? Well, let me ask this first. That file that contains code, do you use that with the cast biz program?
I attempted to load the session file in its entirety and received errors, so I was not able to. That's why I went into the JSON file to see if there was something I can see reference.
Is that file usable?
I'm sure it is somewhere.
What is the restriction for you?
I don't know what restriction it is. I don't know what to do with that file outside of, if I could possibly bring it into the cast is. I tried to pull it in as a combined session log, which is what I was trained to do. So I didn't get that. I didn't pull that file.
Is that file available on a Discovery Drive for me?
Provided to the prosecutor today.
Thank you. In the report that I just got today, there's a reference to another cast biz session and some screenshots. What is that about?
I believe you're talking about just the regular 48 hours folder.
I don't know. I'm curious.
So that I provided 2 folders. One was cast biz and one was just my last name of Maury. That was to differentiate the files that I found that were provided to me and the folder of the files that I used to create this report.
Okay. Cast biz is the files that you found while preparing,
Correct.
and the one that says Maury is what you used to create your May 3rd report of 2023.
Yes.
Okay, I think I understand that now. In that file, I think your report said you found screenshots dated April 19th of 2023.
Yes.
All right. Does that mean that's the day that you put things into your CastViz program?
That was the day that I made the screenshots themselves.
Okay. Where are those screenshots now? Are those also included on the drive?
Yes.
Okay. And then your report dated 5/3 says that you were asked to examine the record. So I'm a little confused if you had something that you took screenshots of on 4/19, but on 5/3 you were asked to examine the record. What were you doing on 4/19 or before to get those screenshots?
So I was tasked, the date was May 3rd for the report. It's not the date that I asked.
Okay. What day were you asked to do?
I cannot remember. I'm gonna guess that it was somewhere around April 19th. Because that's when the screenshots were created.
Okay. Let's talk about that time frame then and what you did. Did you actually use a CastViz program at that time to create something?
Yes.
The CastViz program that you used at that time, and we're talking about springtime of 2023, we'll call it April for now, if that's fair. What training had you received by then to do this CastViz program?
The 2019 training.
Okay. With the CastViz program, what's the first thing that you did?
Once the program is open, you can drag and drop the CPR records into the program.
CDR means call detail records.
Right.
Did you do just 48-hour records or did you do full records in April of 2023?
I only did the 48-hour records.
When you put the records in, those are the call detail records and those relate to what?
To the phone that the records were coming back to.
The number you associated with Bryan Kohberger.
Right.
Okay. When, after you put those call detail records in, do you have to do anything with cell towers?
With the AT&T, no, because the cell tower locations are in the AT&T CPR.
Okay. So you put that record in, the tower locations are already part of the call detail record that you put in?
Yes,
Is that something that you have electronic on your computer and then you open your CastViz program and just import it into the program?
yes, AT&T provides both PDF and text documents of the file. And I use the text document to put into CastViz to have it adjusted.
And when you do that, what gets exported?
Nothing. At that point, nothing is exported or created that I know of.
Can you export the session that you're working on?
You can export a session log, yes.
Did you do that?
No.
How did you create screenshots?
By using the built-in Windows snip tool as well as the built-in Windows game console, or they call it the game bar, which is just accessed by hitting Windows G. That allows you to record your screen.
Are those the only two things you did, is screen clip and screen record?
Yes,
How many times did you use call detail records in the CastViz program?
probably a dozen times. I'm not entirely sure.
That was a terrible question. How many times did you use the CastViz program in relation to Bryan Kohberger's call detail records?
I don't know.
More than once?
I recall doing it for the grand jury because I wasn't the main lead in the call detail records investigation.
I don't understand what that means.
I wasn't the main person looking at those call detail records.
You weren't the main person with the call detail records, but you put them in the CastViz program anyway?
For the grand jury, I was requested.
Okay. What did you rely on in producing those? Producing whatever you produced for the grand jury?
Rely on what do you mean, what did I produce? As far as the AT&T records,
I want to know what you relied on to do that, to produce something for the grand jury.
I don't understand the question.
Okay. You weren't the main guy with the call detail records or with the CastViz programming. Did I understand that much right?
There was another investigator that was doing that.
Okay. But you end up involved in it somehow in April of 2023, is that right?
That's when I was asked to examine the data to provide that for the grand jury.
Okay. Was that all of your instruction?
What do you mean by that?
Well, you're asked by somebody else who's actually doing this part of the investigation in the case to produce something for the grand jury to use. And I'm curious about what you relied on, to get to that point. I want to know all the records you relied on, all of the emails, all of the conversations you relied on to produce this thing that you're not the expert for.
So I wrote the affidavit for the AT&T records, received the AT&T records. Those records were also given to another investigator who was the main investigator doing the CPR records. Prosecution then asked me to provide or create some type of visualization of the call detail records and examine the call detail records for the 4 hours in question. That
Just to be really sure when you talked about writing the 2 warrants for AT&T. We're talking about 2 warrants that relate to Bryan Kohberger. There were a lot of other warrants. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to be really clear on that. You've taken the CAST training. Is that right?
Yes.
And you know there's a way to save your session. Is that correct?
Yes.
And there's also a way just to hit reset and delete your session. Do you know that part too?
Mhm.
And back in April, when you were creating something for the grand jury, you hit reset. Is that right?
Or I just deleted the files out of it. I don't remember if I had reset or you can delete them individually as well.
You don't remember which thing you did,
Okay.
but you decided to delete what you'd created.
Don't know. I didn't delete anything. I didn't create the session log, so I don't know how I was doing it. You delete the reference of the file in the software, but the file itself is not deleted.
I want to make sure I understand. The record, the AT&T record still exists. You didn't delete that.
Correct.
But the session, when you put that in to the CAST Viz program, and it does its thing with the call detail records, which includes tower references, you either deleted that session or you chose to reset. Did I understand that right?
Didn't create a session log. I don't know how I would delete it. I just removed the reference to the file, the main file, from the software at some point. I don't know when I did that.
You don't know when you did that?
No, you can close the software without hitting reset or delete.
And then it would just stay there.
I believe it.
And you can also export your session if you get interrupted and you want to come back and work on it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do that? You left it up and running at some point and then did something that didn't save it. Is that right?
The session log was never created. Did not create a session log. The CDR records that I was dealing with is relatively small. There's no need to do that because I can ingest the files right back into CAST Viz in a short amount of time.
Your Honor, just for clarity, may I approach? I have another exhibit to show him. I'll give it to you, Your Honor. Thank you.
So what do you guys think she's trying to accomplish with all of this? Do you think she's going to be successful?
Are you familiar with the document that was handed to you that's marked Defendants W?
Yes,
And have you seen that before?
I have.
Is that something that you were taught from the CAST Users Guide?
I'm sure I was. It's also included in the software that can be readily accessed.
Okay. And Your Honor, would move for admission of Defendants W?
Thank you. No objection. Okay, that exhibit W is presented.
Thank you.
No objection.
In your training, were you also taught from the CAST Field Users Guide?
I believe so.
I'm about ready to switch gears on you and talk a little bit more about videos for a second, but if I can have just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Okay, let's switch gears for just a minute. You, during the course of your work, Did you make contact with the Idaho Department of Transportation to talk about some of the cameras that cover main roads coming into and out of Moscow?
Yes,
And did you attempt to make preservation of any items?
I did.
What items did you want preserved?
I was trying to see if they had saved video or still images from those funds,
What did you learn?
that they do not retain those.
Did you, when you say they do not retain those, do you mean they don't retain videos or pictures or both?
Well,
Did you do a preservation for anything?
not recall setting actually a preservation letter out.
Okay. Your Honor, if I can have another exhibit provided.
Yes, thank you.
I wonder what he's reading. He's taking his time, making sure it's exactly as it was. Which is probably smart, because you never know. He seems like a really smart guy. Oh, Linda, hey. Nice to see you, Love Bug. Everybody else that's joining in, thank you so much. This is definitely an interesting hearing. We haven't done a Bryan Kohberger hearing in a while on this channel. Many of you know that once we have a trial date set, we will be doing fundraising so we can go out there and cover the trial, boots on the ground. We've already done 2 tours out there.
What do you recognize that exhibit?
So these are emails that I was trying to find some kind of contact information for windy.com, a website that does weather-related information, as well as has some links to images from cameras that are covering the highway.
Sounds like they got cameras.
Did you learn that you could have some still shots preserved?
I did.
Did you have some still shots preserved?
I did not.
Okay. Your Honor, would move for admission of defendants P.
Thank you. That's what, I'm sorry, PP?
Double P, yes.
That's what I thought. Okay. Exhibit PP is exhibit or admitted, no objection.
When we started talking, we talked about you kind of being the guy that would book or take videos in from different agencies, even if you didn't verify what was on the device you received. Is that right?
Yes.
And do you, I have a specific one that a couple of them I want to ask you about. One is from Red Star Coffee Shop. Do you recall receiving that video?
I did not.
Okay. And are you aware that it was hooked in or brought in by Idaho State Police?
No.
How would I find out about those videos?
She's on hunting for
We'd have to
videos.
go through the USB drives to find out what was given. I was just given the vast USB drives. I was not given them by the people that were bringing them in for time. Given to them after it had been handed off to other investigators and other assistants that were helping with the calls.
Is there somebody else I should ask about specific ones to track where they went?
I don't know. I don't have that information.
Okay. All right, give me just a minute, Your Honor.
Sure.
So it seems like they're trying to find some fishing.
Thank you, Detective Maury. I don't have any other questions for now, but hold on, the prosecutor might.
So it sounds like they're fishing for some videos.
Thanks, Mr. Thompson.
Ms. Jeans.
Okay, Ms. Jennings.
Maury, I want to go back and talk a little bit about this past biz program. Can you explain to me generally what is cast biz?
It's just a software that is useful in creating visualizations of the call detail records.
Okay. So how is it useful? What does it show?
It shows the location and the direction of the cell towers and their sector antennas.
Okay. Now, what version of cast biz do you have?
Currently, I think I have 33 on my laptop. It's prompted me to update to 38. But at the time, I believe I had 30 installed.
So walk me through. You start up the software program,
Yes,
and then what do you do?
drag the text file from the CDRs into the system. It ingests the files and then produces a display of that data.
Okay. And is that what you did on the 19th?
Yes,
And then what did you do with that visual that was displayed?
those visuals, I created screenshots, created the screen capture of the video. Casper also allows a timeline playing view that you can record separate from Windows built in software. I can save those.
Other than uploading the CDRs, did you change any of the settings on CastBiz?
The only thing that I would have done was gone in and changed made sure that the time was correct because they were coming in at the TC. It was a coordinated time. I wanted to make sure that those were representative of the local time.
All right, so you just changed it to Pacific.
Correct.
Any other changes?
No.
Okay. So you were talking about how it does not automatically save.
It does not.
Okay. And you chose not to save.
No. And in the exhibit that was provided, the actual text says that if you need to save a session file.
And can you tell me why didn't you save these settings?
I was creating the visualization exhibits. That's what I was doing with that.
Any reason to save the settings?
No.
Could this be recreated or redone in the same fashion?
Yes, I can, again, open the software, drag the CDRs back in, and in a very short time it is generated.
And it would give you the same information?
Yes,
Is that why you didn't save it?
yes.
I want to switch over to the other session files that you found. Were those session files created by you?
No.
Okay. And did you ever use those?
No.
And have you now turned those over, provided those?
Yes,
Now I want to switch gears over to what we were discussing as windy.com. What is that? What is Windy?
it's a website that is available for weather and such.
Okay. And why is that relevant in this case?
We were directed by, I think it was Captain Corporal Payne that told me that we should look into windy.com.
And why is that?
Just to see if they retained video from the cameras themselves.
Okay, so windy.com has cameras.
They have screenshots. They basically capture the ITD cameras and put them on their website. Those images are routinely purged from their site for the administration of that.
Okay. And can you explain to me, when are those, you talked about them being purged from their site? What's that schedule?
From going on their website yesterday, it's a public website, so I was able to go back to it. I don't remember exactly. I believe that within 24 hours, it's hourly. Within a week, it's daily. Within 12 months, it's monthly. And then after that, I believe it's I was seeing probably like 3 months or so.
Can you explain why you didn't preserve those images from Wendy.com?
When it was discussed with other investigators, we would have only gotten, I believe it was one image per day. Time frame wasn't where we were interested in, so we didn't capture that once.
So there is no evidentiary value.
None that we did.
Okay. And have you since gone back and found some screenshots?
Yes,
It's what's available on the publicly available website,
anyone can go to wendy.com and grab the screenshots there.
and you've now done that.
I have,
Anything of evidentiary value?
no,
Have those been turned over anyway?
yes.
I just have 1 second.
Sure.
I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. Can you read that?
Yes, just a bit. You were just speaking with the prosecutor about the images from Wendy.com. And I thought you didn't preserve anything or go back and look at anything during your investigation. Did I misunderstand that?
So yesterday when I was directed by the prosecutor.
Okay, so yesterday the prosecutor said, go look for these things.
Yes,
But before that, you and other investigators decided not to. Did I get that right?
with the information that we were given, we were told that there would be a screenshot for the day, if I remember right, the parameters of. We did not grab those because they were not in the. Didn't see that they would be relevant.
But you didn't look back then. You waited until yesterday. Is that right?
No, we looked back then. I couldn't tell you what time. Most of the photos that were taken for the daily screenshot or the daily screenshots were daytime. Middle of the day kind of thing. So we didn't grab those at the time.
Okay, but you did look at the time and made a decision at the time. Do I understand that now?
Yes.
Okay. Back to the cast viz for a couple of questions for you. When you were doing the work back in April of 2023, did you see maps on the screen with the work that you were doing?
Yes.
And you also made a video of that. I want to show you a map and see if it's what I think it is. You have defendants R in front of you. What is that?
Appears to be a screen capture of the cast is software.
Is that a screen capture from a map that you made?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor would move for admission of defendants R.
Action.
No.
Exhibit R is submitted. No objection.
And are you aware that when you can see mapping on your screen on this program that there's a log created? Okay. You would agree that if I were to take the call detail records that have the tower report in them, I would have to have the same cast version you were using to recreate what you did. Would you agree with that?
I have to have, if I took the regular cell call detail records and put them into a different version of cast, are you saying that it would become different?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Let me try to be more clear about the one I was asking, and then I like yours. We might talk about your question as well. My question is, and the prosecutor suggested that your work be recreated. And so it didn't matter that you hadn't saved your session. What I want to know is if I have the 48-hour call detail records that contain the tower list like you have, do I have to have the cast viz program that you used so I can see what you did?
I don't know, because I don't know what the back end of the cast is software Yes, I'm just new, so I don't know.
For those that need to know, this is for the fourth and fifth motion to
And you
compel.
were in this CASVIS program, at least for a while, creating exhibits that would be relied on. Is that right?
Yes,
On more than one occasion, is that right?
yes.
But you didn't save your work.
We did not create a session log. That's even need.
Would you agree I can't see what you did without your session log? Can't examine what you did without your session log?
Is there to create the visualizations for the exhibits? That's what I use as.
But I can't see what you did. Is that right? Is that right?
No,
No, it's not right, or no, I can't see what you did.
you cannot, but I could take those cell data or call data records, put them into ASVIS again. Results would be what they are because we're still using the same records from AT&T to create
Have you done that?
these records.
Yes.
No.
Thanks, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything on that, Ms. Jennings?
Um. Can we go, why did you pull the CDRs into CASVIS?
Why did I do that in April?
Mhm.
Because I was asked by you to do it for the treasurer.
Okay, is that the only reason you did it?
Yes,
Is that the only time you did it?
yes.
Okay.
That I remember. I mean,
Thank you, Brandon.
Follow up on that question?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, great. Can this witness be excused?
Yes, please.
Any objection? Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, thank you. Thanks, Matt. All right, you are excused, but you can stay if you like. Okay, next witness.
Your Honor, the rest of the witnesses will be present and ready to go on the 30th, to the very best of my knowledge. This was the only witness we needed to accommodate with today's hearing. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. So we're done for today?
We're done for today, Your Honor.
Wow, okay. Ms. Jennings, agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Yes, what are you, hold on. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Beth. So I have a whole bunch of documents that is not clear whether I should sign the sealing or not, because there's no stipulation and there's no hearing, but we're all here together. So can we just go through this and clear it up? Yes?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, so the first one I have is motion to temporarily seal supplemental response to defendant's fourth and response to fifth motions to compel and motion to limit scope of testimony. And I have not signed that because there was no stipulation or agreed.
Your Honor, I apologize. I thought we had agreed, those have the detailed exhibits attached to them, and I thought we'd stipulated that those detailed exhibits could be sealed.
Okay, well, the addition on that was limited scope of testimony, so I wasn't sure if that was included in our earlier agreement.
Your Honor, that's the state's motion, and I know we responded to that, and we did not seal our response to that.
Okay. State is asking for sealing on that. Are we on the same page? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Just want to know if I should sign this or not.
Well, I'm just not sure. Is there an objection? It's the state's motion to seal. Is there an
Right.
objection from defense to seal?
No, if they want their documents sealed, that's fine. We had responded publicly, and so I wondered if that changed.
Okay, so I'll sign this. That's one. I just don't want to get in trouble with your arguments about sealing and not sealing. Okay, I just want to be very clear on the record.
Thank you for that.
He wants to be crystal clear for the record.
Plus is piling up with the clerk. Okay, next one is also the state's, well, this is the one that's sealed. Got that taken care of. Got another one from the state, a motion to temporarily seal exhibits one of state's second supplemental response, et cetera. Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. These titles are getting along, I have to say. Fine. Clear. I think that is the one. Okay. This is the same. I think that's it. Anything else we need to talk about before we're done?
Nothing to say?
Nothing from us.
Okay. Well, thank you all. We're adjourned. Appreciate it.
All right, there we have it. So I did want to show you guys. Give me just a second. Let me go over here. This is what we were dealing with today right here. So for all of those that would like to see, there we go. Right there, 2:30 today. So it was to call for testimony related to the defendant's 4th and 5th. They're going to be taking the rest up. They've got a couple hearings, like May 30th, a week from today, around 1:30. We will be back. We will be back here to cover that hearing if we are in town, because as you guys may have heard while we were live here today, the mechanic called and I did get my car back. It does sound 100% better. It seems like it's driving a little bit better, but I only drove it across the street. So I really haven't had a chance to take it for a spin. We will be taking it for a spin here later today. I wanted just to bring to you guys this hearing for Bryan Kohberger. This is one of the hearings or one of the cases that we have covered in depth. We've spent a lot of money and a lot of time on this case up front. And I'm really pleased with the work we did up front. It seemed like we were hitting a lot of the stuff where we needed to hit. We were the first, and I mean the first, not News Nation, not Fox News, nobody. Bullhorn Betty channel was the first organization to go in front of Washington State University to ask, is it possible that one of their students could have been responsible for this? And I was the first. We brought it to you guys here, and it is one of those things where, yeah, it was possible. And Bryan Kohberger was a PhD student there in criminology. And we worked our tail end off to get out there, to cover this case properly. We didn't go into all the conspiracy theories that many people did go into when it came to this case. We were fact driven. We knew that this was a lot different than many people were putting out. We did discuss some of the rumors that were going on, but we tried to put them out as quickly as possible. One of the first tours we went out there for immediately after these girls and Ethan lost their life was to calm tension, because there was so many people that were worried sick. And one of our main focus was to show everybody how much law enforcement was penetrating the area. Did it help? You know, I don't know. I feel like it did a little bit. We knew that it wasn't a crazed lunatic on the roads, but we knew that it was somebody that had some major evil in them, and we wanted this person off the streets as quickly as possible. But what freaks me out the most is being out in front of Wazoo, wondering if Bryan Kohberger was watching us, wondering if Bryan drove past us while we were there. It's a little, you know, creepy, to be honest with you. It's creepy. But guys, I just want to thank you for spending some time with us. We will be getting back and covering more of the Bryan Kohberger case. As we start gearing up for trial, we're going to take a new look at, a fresh eyes at the case. We're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to read the probable cause affidavit. We're going to go through the entire docket and get up to date on everything that has happened in this case so far. So, and Bryan was still in Moscow at the time. He sure was. He sure was. We were out in front of Wazoo on, I think it was December 1st. It was either November 30th or December 1st. We were literally the first organization that brought in Washington State University into the conversation of the Idaho 4. So, you know, we don't do a lot, but what can I say? We do a lot, right? So we got Black Beauty back. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go take my girl for a spin, okay? It's been a little bit of time since I've seen her. You know, I want to, like, pet her a little bit. You know, I want to be gentle with her, but then I want to get a speeding ticket, okay? I'm going to get a speeding ticket right now. If anybody would like to sponsor a speeding ticket for Betty, please do so. You guys are going to be kissing my dust here in just a few moments. But thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. I know that this case means a lot to a lot of people. We need to get back in the algorithm of this case, and we will start doing that. Starting next week, we'll start touching back on this case. We'll start it from the beginning. We'll go through the journey. We've got a lot on this case. We'll start going back through some of those videos, some of those lives that we did out in front of the house. That should be interesting. We'll go back and review the search that was being executed from his apartment. Olivia and I were live, boots on the ground, baby, when all these things were happening. And I was very honored to have been there. And more importantly, very honored to represent, you know, the Gonzalez and their story of, you know, them telling us and letting us learn a little bit about Kaylee and Maddie, and more importantly, their relationship with each other and their friendship. It was a beautiful story, and again, we were honored to be there. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, please be kind to one another. God bless.